I'm gonna have a mess to clean though. It's getting everywhere. Look at the pressure of this thing. Damn. This thing's pretty serious. Oh. See, I told you I was gonna do it. All right, we're gonna hold off on that. We're gonna pause. We're gonna come back here in about 15 minutes. That's what it states on the can. See that? Allow the product to penetrate for 15 minutes. So, yeah, we'll catch you guys in 15 minutes. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about cylinder heads. I have a set that was off of a racing engine, and then over here, I have the set that's off of our 6-liter. And let me tell you right now, there is a huge difference. This set is actually really nice and clean, and this set is junk. Look at the difference in the oil staining. I mean, this set right here is extremely clean, and this set is not. So what we have over here on the left side, this is a 706 head. It's basically like an 862. You'd find that on any 5.3, 4.8 combination. If you look at the motor I'm using for mock-up in the 79 Z28 that we're doing, those are the same heads right there, 862. And like I said, this is a 5.3, so you're going to see that on any 4.8, 5.3 combination. They're pretty much the same head. The 5.3 heads over here, they do have some markings on them, like they have had some work done. They came off of a racing engine. I really can't pronounce the name. I think it's Schwanka Racing Engines. I'll post a picture of it. I think it's Schwanka. I have no idea how to say it. But they make racing engines, and that's exactly where these cylinder heads came from. On today's video, we are going to go through my set of heads here. We're going to take all of our valves out. We're going to clean them up. We're going to lap everything in. I have some brand new valve springs from Tooley Racing. Since we're talking about junk cylinder heads, I'm sure you guys already know what's about to happen. These are a set of 317 heads, and when I say they are rough and they are crusty, look at the difference. These ones are fairly nice. They're not pitted or anything. And then you have these cylinder heads over here. They're oil stained. They're nasty looking. They're all gunky. They're gonna need a little bit of work. So the first thing I wanna talk about is, do I need to lap my valve? Well, in this case, I already have my heads off. I have the time. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. They do make some stands. You don't have to do what I'm doing. And you can get these all set up on a stand. They're pretty nice. So you don't have to try and play this balancing act like I am. But right now, I don't have them. The valves look pretty good. They're a little dirty, that's for sure. And this motor definitely looks like it had a lot of idle time on it. In order to see how these were performing, I could have done a test if I had this motor together and in a vehicle, but I didn't. So let's get to ripping these cylinder heads apart. Today we're going to be using my OTC C-clamp tool. It's basically very simple. You clamp the tool on, and then there's a set screw in the back that we're going to turn right in, and that'll allow you to set your depth for how far the valve spring will collapse, so you can get your keepers right out. The next time you go and use it after it's all set, all you have to do is compress it and not turn the screw in. You want to go just deep enough so you can get those keepers out. I'm going to use my pick, get them out. Sometimes it could be tough. You have to rock the tool around a little bit, but it's usually pretty easy. Once you get the keepers out, the valve spring and retainer come right off, and you can pop the valve out. I took the first valve out and it came out pretty easy. The valve coming out easy like that's a good sign. Nothing's bent. Nothing's holding it up in there. Make sure you put the same valve back where you take it out from. So I'm gonna put all my valves separate. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna take them all out, leave them directly behind the heads just like this, and then we'll go in order to get this done. Surprisingly enough, these valves are pretty clean. Before I start cleaning up these cylinder heads completely, I want to show you guys how easy it is to take off these valve seals. Some motors you need a puller. For these ones you don't. Grab it, twist it, they come right out. Repeat that same process for every valve seal. Let's talk about cleaning our valves. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. This one's in pretty good shape, it's really not that dirty. But some of these other valves, pretty gross. And I'm not going to get all of this off, but I'm going to try to clean it up the best that I can. I'm going to use a little bit of Marvel's Mystery Oil in this Scotch-Brite pad here. I took my valve, I taped off the stem of it, and I put it in my drill. So we're going to take this and hopefully clean up our valve pretty damn nice. The main thing was to clean up this valve for as cheap as possible. The Marvels cost me about $5, and the Scotch-Brite I actually stole from my wife. Keep in mind, these cylinder heads were off of a 2006 GMC 3500. It was a plow truck, it was all rotted out. So naturally, this aluminum is going to be all oxidized, it's going to be filled with dirt, and it's going to take me a little bit to actually clean these up. But I'm hopeful that we can do this. I don't have a parts washer or anything like that, so I ended up having to go out and get some stuff. I just went to O'Reilly's. I usually use them for everything. This isn't sponsored by them or anything. I wish it was. I go in there quite a bit. Hell, we'll even call this thing the O'Reilly Rebuild. But we're not sponsored by them. But the least we can do is try out their product. Oh, wow. Damn, look at that. It's like shaving cream. Now, I could press harder, but it's gonna go everywhere. Damn, look at that. This stuff works pretty, I mean, it didn't even work yet, and I'm already having fun with it, so I hope it works pretty good. I'm gonna have a mess to clean, though. It's getting everywhere. Look at the pressure of this thing. Damn. This thing's pretty serious. Oh. See, I told you I was gonna do it. All right, we're gonna hold off on that. We're gonna pause. We're gonna come back here in about 15 minutes. That's what it states on the can anyways. See that? Allow the product to penetrate for 15 minutes. So, yeah, we'll catch you guys in 15 minutes. Well, that was a quick 15 minutes. Everything basically just dripped off, and it kind of loosened everything up. It did do pretty good, but we're definitely going to have to brake clean some of it. So I just wanted to see if that stuff would work. But right now, we're going to get all this dirt off, all this nastiness. I mean, these are not going to be perfect cylinder heads. This is a plow truck motor. It's been through some stuff, but I'm gonna get it as clean as I can. We'll clean this with a steel brush, some brake clean, and probably just this pick so I can get in here and get some of that grit out. Alright guys, as you can see, I've been scraping everything. Some of this stuff's not coming off. If you guys already subscribed, you know what I'm about. Now's the point of the video where you guys are going to smash that subscribe button, because that's the only way you're going to see this car go from a junk car to a race car. when you're using one of these cookies like this, all it does is take off the surface. I mean, if you sit there long enough, yeah, you could gouge something, 100%. You just gotta get the feel for it. When I'm doing this so light it's not even funny. Like, literally, like this. This doesn't even hurt your hand. But if you hold it in one spot, yeah, you're gonna run into issues. We're gonna talk about lapping valve. I went through and lapped all the rest of these. This one right here, I did put my valve grinding compound on. You're gonna wanna go around the valve, go around the base, the seat of the valve, push that baby right back in. We'll take this one out so you guys can see. See the bottom of this valve? It's not like the intake valves. The intake valves, they're actually nice and clean on the surface. These are still kind of nasty. What I'm gonna do, if you spit into the suction cup, anything, water, whatever, it doesn't matter. Get this nice and wet. There you go. Now it sticks. Sticks no problem. These valves that are kind of nasty, it doesn't really stick. You're gonna want to take your valve. It's kind of gross, but you know what, it works. You could have probably used soap or whatever. I spit on the valve. You're gonna take your valve, and just like you're starting a fire, just keep going back and forth like that. Bring it up. And what you're doing, the valve is grinding itself back into the seat, so it's going to have a nice flush surface for it to sit on. Your valve's not going to leak or anything. You're basically just resealing the valve, essentially. And then when it's all gritty, you hear when it's all gritty. And then once it starts to get smooth, that's exactly what you want. Take your valve back out. Be sure to wipe all this compound off. I got some brake clean right here. See how it's all nice and clean? Versus before, this was all rusty. You're gonna wanna take all the compound out. Please remove the compound. If not, you're not really gonna be happy with your motor. Oh man, it's 35 degrees in here and brake clean on the hand. That was really cold. Now this exhaust port is directly open, so I can take this brake cleaner. Just clean it the rest of the way out. Make sure you get your valve guide too. You don't want any of that lapping compound in the valve guide. That will destroy the valve guide. Tiny bit of this assembly lube. You don't need a lot. Just a little bit. Take your valve, put it right back in. That's it for lapping our valves. All right guys, so what I just went and did, I installed the valve seals. When you guys are installing your valve seals, they're very simple. They do make a tool for it, but you don't really need it. It's called a valve seal driver. What you're gonna wanna do, you take your valve seal right here, which is the hat style. Go to your valve, support the back of the valve, and literally just twist it, and then just twist it into place. All your valve seals will go right on. They're very simple. It's time for the valve springs. These are considered a beehive style. These are Brian Tooley Racing part number SP011-16. It's a 560 lift beehive valve spring. So we're gonna start with this one first. Obviously this valve spring there. Our tool that we use to disassemble is also gonna help us reassemble. Put it on the retainer. It's gonna pay off. Take that retainer, put it right to the valve spring. Now it's gonna hold it. It's gonna make it a little bit easier. We're gonna take our tool, support the back of the valve. This valve spring's a little bit stronger, so it might take a little bit. Just like so. When you do this, you're gonna have to make sure you keep the tool straight. I didn't realize I had it at so much of an angle. You really want it to be as straight as possible so you can get those keepers right in place. These are a cone. You put the cone down. All right, so once you get everything like that, the screw on the back, slowly release that. Take a rubber mallet and a rubber mallet only. Just make sure it's seated correctly. We're using valve lapping compound. We're using our suction cup, little fire starters. This is an OTC C-clamp. Part number is 4572 if that's something you want to purchase. It just makes it a little bit easier. And that's just it, guys. It's pretty simple to do. This is an old school, basic, this is an old school valve job. If you're doing this on a small block Chevy or even any engine, it's gonna be the same exact way. Your parts might be a little bit different, but this is generally how you do it. You disassemble the valve, you clean the cylinder head up, you lap everything back in, make sure everything's lubricated, you put your new seal on, get that new spring on, compress everything, put your retainer and then your keepers, give it a little tap with a rubber mallet and a rubber mallet only because you do not want to hit the top of that valve with anything else. That's it. This whole motor, this whole turbo aspect is based off of a plow truck motor. So that's everything you need to know about redoing a junkyard cylinder head. If you're looking for a book on how to rebuild an LS engine, anything about this, torque specs, the whole nine, whatever you want, I will recommend this book right here. It's got everything in it. Thank you for watching DeRosa Driven, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.